The brand new Insta360 X3 360 camera just arrived. Thank you, Amazon Prime. In this video, we're gonna be unboxing it. If you're here for the unboxing, look below for chapters so that you can fast forward. But first, I want to talk about what a 360 camera is and how I personally use it in my workflow of documenting everyday biking adventures, the pros and cons of using a 360 camera, and why I am so excited about this new X3 model, because it has a couple of key features that I think could really matter to daily cyclists, either for safety, documenting the ride around you, for close calls, or God forbid, we get in a bike crash, for documenting those. And then also just for daily life documentation, I think this new X3 has a couple of cool features that I want to share with you as we unbox it. The first thing I want to talk about is what a 360 camera is, how it works, and how I personally use it. So a 360 camera, like this one right here, this is the Insta360 X2, the predecessor of the new X3 that I'm going to be talking about later. The way this works is you have two very wide angle lenses, one on this side and then on the opposite side. Super wide angle lenses. And using AI and software, it stitches those two wide angle views together and makes basically a sphere around it that it's documenting. When people think about 360 videos, they think about videos that you can look all around, kind of immersive, like, you're in a virtual reality. How I use 360 cameras is actually to reframe into a flat video like you're watching now. It's not virtual, can't look all the way around. But the 360 camera allows you to reframe anywhere in that sphere that it recorded and use that video as a flat image. So as an example, I can have this on my handlebar, videoing all around me, and then after I'm done riding, I can actually decide where I want the video to be showing and download that clip. I can also download different views. So maybe I want to be showing you looking ahead or looking to the side or looking at me, and those can be 3 different video files that I use when I make videos. The other thing that this 360 sphere does is really good stabilization. So I put this on my handlebar with a clamp, and it's kind of jittering as I go, but this little technology, and it locks on the horizon, so when I download the video file, it looks so stable. It also can remove some objects. This is a selfie stick that can extend out, and this goes in the bottom, and this software built into the Insta360 app actually removes this selfie stick, so it's like an invisible stick. It's really cool, so I can get low shots, I can get different views, and it will remove this stick from it. The last thing I wanted to share, which could be a completely different video, is how I use this specific one, the Insta360 X2. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in the comments below. It's worth mentioning that I tried one of the GoPro 360 cameras and hated the software that came with it. So I swore off 360 cameras for a while, and now I'm back to probably the last 2 years. I've been using the X2, and the 2 common ways I use it. With this plug, I plug it into a handlebar mount on my bike and just hit record. I have a massive 256 gigabyte card inside, and the battery that comes with this can go for about an hour of footage, just recording straight. If I want a lot of footage and don't have to worry about swapping batteries, I'll actually just plug into the side, have the cord very close wrapping down, and then the battery pack in a bag on my handlebar. And then this and that 256 gig can run forever and ever, much longer than I ever want to edit the footage. But it's really cool when I'm visiting new towns or showing people different bike routes to be able just to hit record, have this on my handlebar. It documents. The audio is not great, but the footage is good and the stabilization is amazing. And then I also will use my GoPro or my phone to get talking pieces where the audio can be a little bit better, the footage is a little bit better of me, and then I clip those two together. I'll put a link below to a couple of examples from when I was in DC or biking around Chapel Hill with a friend. You can see this footage is pretty darn good. The next way that I also use this is if I'm riding somewhere that I'm concerned about the drivers, I'll actually put this with the I'll take the camera with the selfie stick and that clamp on my handlebar and have it sticking out of my handlebar kind of 45 degrees next to me. And I'm recording what's in front of and behind me in case of crazy drivers. I can document it. I can share with authorities. God forbid anything ever happens to me, it's documented. And that note is one of the reasons I'm excited about the X3, but I'll get to that in a second. And then the last way that I use it with the invisible selfie stick, I'll have this way out to the side, and as long as I make the sunlight in the right place, I'll have this out to the side of me biking or behind me or down low to a friend riding next to me, and I can get some really cool shots of the bike and the rider. And then the Insta360 removes this invisible stick from the footage. The reason I mentioned the sunlight is you will see this in the shadows. So make sure you're thinking about that. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but something to think about. That's the 3 top ways that I use a 360 camera. For the most part, I pull the footage to my computer and edit there. If I'm in a pinch or I just got a really short clip of, say, my kids biking, I will edit on my phone, but it's definitely not my preferred route because it can be really slow. It takes a long time to export depending on how long the clip length is, because the export and the rendering on this can take a long time on a phone. Those are all the ways that I love 360 cameras, but it hasn't replaced my trusty GoPro Hero 10 for a few reasons. The first would be the footage isn't as good, especially in low light. It gets pretty choppy, pretty grainy, and if there's a lot of light hitting this really wide angle, it can cause light flares and make it so you just can't really use that footage. The other thing that happens is these lenses can get scratched really easily. They do make covers and things like that, and if I'm mountain biking with it, I use the stick-on plastic guards, but those plastic guards also add artifacts, and it's not a crystal clean image. So you have to be really careful with these. If you accidentally drop this without a case or without a cover on it, it can scratch very easily, and you have to send it back for them to basically replace that glass of the lens. So that's the second thing that I really don't like about 360 cameras. And then the last one, which is probably the most common hurdle that people have to overcome, is the workflow. So you really can't just download one of these videos and use it. You can, but it wouldn't really look good. It looks like you're in a fishbowl. You have to download it to your phone, edit it, reframe, use one of their video modes to create a video, download or export that video, and then you have something to use. It takes a few minutes, sometimes a lot of minutes, depending how long the clip is that you want to use. So for most people that just want to do a quick video, maybe they're used to their iPhone and they just want to have something else like that, it's not nearly as easy or quick to use. But for me, the uniqueness of being able to put this in different places, not worried about what I'm filming, and can just kind of hit record and ride or talk and not have to worry so much of is this shot exactly what I need it to be? It's for me worth it, but for a lot of people, the workflow of dealing with 360 footage is just not worth it. Hopefully that was a quick overview of what a 360 camera is. If you're super interested in learning about it, I'll put some links below. And I would love to talk about the technology because it's something that I think is going to progress how we can share our stories about daily cycling in unique ways and, share those little moments that hopefully can inspire or educate other people. So with that all being said, let's now talk about the Insta360 X3, which is the updated version of my go-to 1X2. Note that they removed the 1 from the model name. All right, it's time. I'm super excited. I bought the X2 2.5 years ago on a whim, and I've absolutely loved it. So I'm super excited about the new X3. As I mentioned, there's a couple features that right away, if you know me, I don't always buy the newest camera tech. I wait to see what other people think, but there was 2 features on this and I was like, yep, I need that. I need to share it with people if it works because it could potentially make a huge difference in someone's life. Now, I just moved into our new house and I don't have my typical unboxing setup, so we're gonna kind of wing it. Let's see. All right, we got a knife. Let's do this. So taking it out of the box, right off the bat, the form factor is pretty close to my X2. It's definitely a little bit heavier. So like pulling them out of your bag, you probably want to be able to tell. When you put them next to each other, you definitely can tell, and you can really tell when you look at the screens. So pull this guy out. This is so strange because I normally have like a table to do this all on. It wants you to do a QR code to unbox and read the directions, which is nice. Super nice for companies if they do it this way because it allows the company to keep that guide updated. So if you want the most up-to-date guide, that QR code allows them to update those PDFs, update the website. All right, we have a charging plug, USB-C again. The X2 is also USB-C. And then this little neoprene. Oh, that's nice. So this neoprene little cover basically lives on my 360 camera. I even put it on when I'm not recording and the camera's on the front of my bike just to help with dust and things like that. So this lives on my camera, but the new one, this is cool. This little slot right here allows you to charge it. So in the past, I would have to pull this out just enough to get to that plug without scratching my lenses. So I love that they put a plug in it and now I can charge in the neoprene. I assume that they've tested that for heat, that when you're charging it, it doesn't get too hot in the neoprene. So you're gonna see bigger sensors. This has 48 megapixel half-inch sensor. The old one was like 18 and a half, the X2. So a huge upgrade in the megapixels. So that's where I'm hoping that low light and the footage that comes out of this is better. I have hopes. Video resolution is the same. It does have a few new modes, including a single mod mode, which makes it so if you click that, you can use it kind of like you would a GoPro or one of their action cameras where it's just facing one direction. It doesn't sound really critical if you're used to 360 footage because you just flatten it, export, and it's ready. Except the single mod mode records in an MP4 instead of the 360 footage files, which means you can instantly use it. So you could use this as a vlogging cam or that just first person point of view. Download it as an MP4, immediately use it without having to have 360 footage altered and downloaded in the middle. I thought that was pretty cool, the single mod mode. It might make it so I leave the GoPro home more often because it will allow me for quick shares. We'll see how the footage looks. Now, there are a few more video modes. Insta360 is known for, I'm going to say their software. Like they have all these cool follow me modes and, you can take 2 weeks just to learn all the different modes and how you need to use the selfie stick, and you can spin it around you and do bullet time lapses and all these other things. The one I am most excited about as a cyclist and why I immediately needed this camera was the loop mode. It's called loop recording, and what it does is it overwrites itself like a cyclic camera. So cyclic makes front and rear cameras with lights, and their main thing is they will overwrite themselves. You just have to record, keep it charged, and when something happens, you grab that footage, download it, and if you don't need to, it just keeps overwriting itself. So you can set intervals, and I haven't dug in too much to it because I'm just unboxing it, but you can set intervals of how often it will overwrite itself. Maybe it's every 30 minutes, and then you just have to charge it. So what I'm really, really, really excited about is having this off my handlebar, kind of to that 45-degree angle, getting the front and rear video footage, and the footage on this is going to be so much better than a cyclic. And I can use it for other things instead of just really expensive lights on the front and back of my bike. So you put it off your side of your handlebar, you document what's happening, nothing goes wrong, it overwrites itself. You just have to keep it charged. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm going to test over the next week because it is huge for the daily cyclist, the road rider, the person that's out on the streets with cars or anyone for safety. If something goes wrong, you want it documented, especially for hit and runs. It's worth noting this technology was available in the Insta360 RS, but that was just a normal action cam forward facing. They did have a 360 mod for it, but a whole package was just so expensive that it wasn't worth me looking at or sharing because you could just get the cyclics at that point. The other big feature that really won me over was that it has physical buttons. Everyone on YouTube is talking about this screen here that you can set up the settings much easier instead of using your phone. But for me, I struggle using touch screens when I'm riding or I'm out filming because typically I'm either sweaty or I have gloves on. So the touch screen I really struggle with. That's actually why I upgraded or swapped to a Garmin Forerunner watch, because it just uses buttons, which is nice. So I can just start things without swiping and having to take off gloves. So I love that this now has multiple buttons so I can switch different modes and things like that without having to fuss with this screen as much. I am excited about this screen because I can see things without having to pull up my phone and look at live view, but it wasn't so much a selling feature as other people on YouTube have talked about. A couple things that I'm noting: it's heavier. I'll put the difference down here, which for me will be fine because I keep it on my handlebar or the selfie stick. But if you're somebody that wears it on your helmet or in the mouth mount, you may want to keep that X2 around. I don't know if that bigger battery is just to power things like that huge screen. So I'm interested to see what my actual real life battery life is like. No pun intended. I was getting a solid hour on a newish battery on the X2 running continuously. So I'm hoping that I'll still get around an hour on this so I don't always have to plug into a USB battery bank. All right, I am going to peel off all the stickers, charge it up, put a new SD card in it, and start testing. So please let me know in the comments what you would like me to try out. Also, let me know what questions you have about 360 cameras, workflow, any of those things, and I'll do my best to answer it. As I mentioned, the technology that's coming out with action cameras, I am so excited about because it will allow you to document either for safety and your own peace of mind, or to share your stories and moments with friends or inspire others. In that note, I'll put a bunch of links below, including a few friends that use action cameras on social media to inspire others either in bike advocacy or to show them new cool bike infrastructure in their town. So look below for all those links to all the things I mentioned, to a couple of my friends. Shout out to Alan and Nicole in Denver. And remember, let me know what you want me to review, test, try, hopefully not break. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay good, and remember, bike more and worry less.